Hey guys, what's up? It's Vampire Bride. As many of you know, I'm a collector, and so I wanted to make this video explaining why I collect physical games, and the pros and cons between collecting physical games or downloading digitally. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I have 5 main reasons for why I tend to buy physical games. Number 1 is that I like having something to look at. Part of being a collector and buying those physical games is having them displayed like artwork throughout your house. When a friend comes over, they're able to come and look at your selection of games and pick what they want to play. I don't have to turn on the multiple different consoles and let them scroll through the games for each one. They have it all laid out in front of them. Being able to just look through my collection, looking at all of the physical games, feels good. And many times I come across a game and it reignites a spark to play that game. I don't get that with digitally downloaded games. I'm not completely against buying digitally downloaded games. I just prefer to have the physical copy. The obvious downside to having so many physical copy games is they take up a lot of space, and when the game is not in use, you obviously need somewhere to store them. I never really got into collecting physical PC games. I do have some, most of which are kids games that I had from when I was younger. Most PC games tend to be digital download only, and a lot of more modern PC cases don't have a space to put a disk drive, so that makes buying physical PC games a little bit more difficult. If you're actually planning to play them and not just put them in your collection, of course. There are a lot of games that are digital download only, a little bit of a negative when it comes to buying physical games. That being said, I'm not against buying games digitally. Just as a general rule, I prefer to buy the physical copy. I do have quite a few digitally downloaded games, most of which I got when I kept up with the Xbox Live Gold and got the free game every month. But I've also bought a few that were digital download only, such as Fruit Ninja Connect. Reason number 2 is that I can sell my collection, and I may just do that someday. Now, sure, I do see people that sell their console or PC with games and their gaming accounts included, and I don't see them getting much more for it, but they can raise the price of it that way. It's just not the same as selling a physical copy game collection. Reason number 3 is that I personally find collecting physical copy games to be more time-saving and convenient. Obviously not for the shopping and finding the games part, but when actually using the game. I don't have to wait for the game to download on my system. I can just pick it up and play it. Sure, there are updates, but those rarely take more than a few minutes. Downloading an entire game can take an hour or more. So let's say I do get a digitally downloaded game. As an adult, I have less and less time to play, so that hour that it takes to download is the only hour I had to play that day. So while it's downloading, I end up picking up one of my physical copy games anyways, getting into it. The digitally downloaded game ends up just sitting on my computer for a while because I didn't end up having the time to play it that day, got into something else, and then it just kind of got put on the back burner. And same goes for going back to an older game. Sometimes the system doesn't have enough memory on it, so I end up temporarily removing the game from the system. Well, then when I do want to go back to that game, I have to completely re-downloading it again, taking a whole bunch of time. Sure, you have to find the game in your collection and put it in said system, but that rarely takes longer than finding the game in the list of digitally downloaded games in your system already anyway. Reason number 4 is risk of loss. Now, I will start this off by saying, for the sake of argument, that sure, physical copy games can be lost. They can be lost, stolen, there's natural disasters, fire, flood, etc. They can take those games from you, and even if you are insured, that will not completely cover the cost of your collection or replace those nearly irreplaceable rare games. So that's the downside of that. Then there's also loss of your console or something happening to it, it shorting out or getting overheated, something like that. If you are unable to save your hard drive or something were to happen to your hard drive, all of your game saves and your digitally downloaded games will be lost. Of course, you then have your digitally downloaded games saved with your account information for whatever game system you're using, and can usually get them back. But that is where my point here comes in. Games get delisted all the time. DuckTales Remastered for the Wii U was recently delisted. Because I own the physical copy of that game, I don't have to worry about it. But if I had it only digitally downloaded on my Wii U, then that could have been a game lost forever. Now let me explain why I say this, because again, your downloaded games are saved under your account profiles for whatever gaming system. But if you removed that game from whatever system to make room for other games, because let's face it, a lot of the systems do not have enough memory to hold the amount of games that we're trying to download onto them. So you temporarily removed it and it got delisted, so now you can never re-download that game. Or like I said, if something happens to your hard drive, you won't be able to go back and re-download that game. It'll be like you never owned it. And that's, to me personally, what bothers me, is it just feels like I never really owned that game because it's just such an easy way to lose it. Now another big argument the other way about having physical copy games is that they get scratched and broken. Of course, a huge way to handle that situation is to handle them with care, handle them properly, and then for the most part, that isn't a problem. Accidents do happen though. The games that I bought new that are in my collection are still like new, and the ones that I bought used are very close to the same condition they were when I bought them. So if you handle your physical copy games with care, you don't have much of a risk of them getting scratched up and broken. And that brings me to reason number 5, which is preservation. Having the physical copy of games makes me feel like I'm preserving the games for future generations. Those games get to continue to have a life. I just don't feel the same way when it comes to digital copy games and their lifeline. Well, that's all I have today on this video of why I buy physical copy games. Which do you prefer to buy, digital download or physical copy? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like that video if you liked it and hit that subscribe button for more videos to come.